I just spent a month traveling around Europe by train with your rail pass, and here are all the things to know to make your trip go smoothly, all in one part, so save for future. First up is some trains require seat reservations. Sometimes the Eurail app will say seat reservations are recommended but not required. I always recommend booking them no matter what, because if you don't, you could risk not having a seat. So if you don't reserve a seat ahead of time, here's how to tell if a seat has a reservation by somebody else. Most trains will have a little light on each seat, and if there's a start and end point lit up, that means somebody has booked that seat for that journey. You can sit there until that person arrives, or find a seat that has no lights and you're good to go. And tip number 2, make sure to bring a mini fan, because sometimes there isn't AC, especially in the summertime, and this can get brutal. And tip number 3 is always check the time boards at the station for the most updated timetables. Sometimes our apps on our phones cannot have the most updated information. And tip number 4, even if you have a 5-minute transfer time, you can still make it if you hurry, especially at smaller stations. Just make sure to check the board. And tip number 5, to avoid a ticket, make sure you sit in the appropriate class. The trains will usually have 1 or 2 on the carts or the seats, letting you know which ones to go to. Alright, tip number 6 is a big one. Make sure you bring tissues with you always. A lot of the trains and buses in Europe have no toilet paper because nobody bothers to refill them, so I cannot stress this enough, the importance of bringing your own. And tip number 7 is train delays happen often, so don't be discouraged if you miss your connection, but make sure you won't end up somewhere in the middle of nowhere with nowhere to stay. It's better to just get off at a larger city than be stranded in a small town and miss your connection. And number 8, some trains have snacks and drinks, but always be sure to bring some of your own just in case. And number 9 is pack as light as you can for easy travel days, and I cannot recommend using a backpack enough. I would never travel Europe by lugging a suitcase around, especially with all the cobblestone streets and all the stairs. And tip number 10, do not take the last train or bus, especially in more remote locations. Make sure you plan ahead to get back to your accommodation. And make sure your train won't arrive after your hotel's check-in time. And bonus tip number 11 is it's okay to ask for help. If you're unsure about something, ask a local or train operator. There's no shame in asking for help. I hope you enjoyed these tips and that you found them helpful for your future adventures. Let me know if you have any questions, and as always, thanks for watching.